Drawbacks in power systems are necessary. If you want the fights and the world to be balanced, you need to have some type of kickback on abilities. This person can't keep using fire, it burns them. This person can't keep using this ability, it hurts them. This person can't keep using this power, it corrupts them. You get the gist of what I'm trying to say. In my humblest opinion, the most interesting fights are those where the person has at least a basic drawback. Not saying that it's necessary for the fight to be good, but to me, it's necessary for the fight to be interesting. Now, saying this, you need to understand the levels of drawbacks an ability or power system has. First, let's look at one really basic. Divergence Fist. With Yuji being new to Jujutsu and not having the best understanding of sorcery, his cursed energy had a delay. Through higher understanding of cursed energy though, this drawback went away, but that was understandable. It was a bug that this boy used as a feature. So it was a drawback, sure, but it could be overcome by being better at the craft. Then there are these higher level drawbacks where you just can't shoo it away. It comes with the power. Look at Nanaka for Hunter x Hunter. A wish is granted, but someone's finna die. Between these two extremes, there lies a little gray area, one that 90% of shonen utilize, and that's energy, ki, chakra, magical energy, whatever. It's a finite amount of energy that is used to power an ability. Goku can't spam Kamehamehas because he's gonna run out of ki. Itachi can't burn the world or he's gonna run out of chakra. Chances are, if you're watching this video, you have encountered an anime that utilizes this system. Knowing this, if we go back to my previous statement, 90% of shonen fights should be interesting. Why aren't they? What I find is, the further the story progresses, the closer to Divergence Fist these drawbacks get, where the characters just don't care about energy consumption because they have stupid amounts of the shits. Which, honestly, if you're utilizing this system, this is going to happen. Like, imagine this. Noelle unlocks the water dragon and is only able to use it once. 4 arcs down the road, she's still only able to use it once. This will have to be one hell of an attack to pull that off and not make everyone wonder why she's not able to use the attack more. Problem is, it's not. So in the future, the attack potency is dead. Not because the people she uses it on either shirts that tanks it or flicks it away, it's because it's used so much now. So to us, the watcher or reader, this attack no longer comes with that expense where you're wondering when is the best time to use the attack. The strategy, the intrigue is gone because now she has no limits to the shits. So now if she can use a nuke 100 times, all of her enemies can survive a nuke 99 times. One of the few abilities that pull this off extremely well is Shishui and Koda Matsukami. It's mind control, and the person being controlled will know they're being controlled. What made this so interesting? It can only be used once per eye every decade. It grants you to wonder how this is going to be used, and watching every piece of the story related to this ability fall into place made it even better. It was satisfying. Nice. It gave you what Noelle Water Dragon was lacking. Not saying the ability goes without flaw in this category. I mean, Danzo was able to use it a few times a week with the help of Hashirama cells, but he's irrelevant. By this point, you should be getting what I'm trying to say about finite energy. As a drawback, it's stale, and it gets stale so fast to the point where if you're interacting with more than 3 of these systems, it subconsciously no longer feels like a drawback. But let's just say we remove this certain energy needed for an attack and we just let it rock. We let the characters do whatever the fuck they feel like, right? What type of power system will this create? It creates My Hero. My Hero removes the energy binded to the verse and just gives every individual power some type of drawback. This nigga shoots lasers out his gut, but he gets acid reflux. This nigga copies your ability, but he has to get close enough to touch your face. He's just strong, but it burns through sugar in his body. That one's kind of lame, I'm not gonna lie to you, right? This world is so good at giving people drawbacks, they don't even have to have a magical energy system, because eventually this nigga run out of sugar, he'll get sick, and he'll... Does he even have a drawback beyond the whole touching face thing?
Nah, I believe that's his entire thing.
It runs out though, like...
Yeah, it runs out, but like...
He can just run it back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he gets their thing at least, right?
Yeah, he gets the person's drawback.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. But what I'm trying to get at is My Hero eventually shifts himself to the Divergent Fist, in the sense that these drawbacks eventually no longer become drawbacks, which makes sense. The pro heroes as we see it don't have any overarching drawbacks in their abilities, which creates two narratives in our heads. It's either they've gotten so good at using their abilities they have found and strengthened ways around their drawbacks to make it seem like they don't have any, or these drawbacks as we see it are just a part of a metamorphosis stage of developing their abilities that eventually go away as they develop. Which I see it going either way for 99.9% of the cast of the show. So what's stopping my hero from reaching that 100% and being the golden standard for having an interesting power system? Deku. Deku's the issue here. Now, one for all as a concept, great. He's able to use copious amounts of strength, but if his body can't handle it, it implodes. That's the drawback, which on first interaction with it, you might tell yourself, this is dumb. Why doesn't he just hold back to the point where his body can handle it? That's the point. He can't. Well, he doesn't know how to. So until he learns how to control his power, he has 8 small attacks in the form of flicking his fingers and 4 big attacks in the form of using his limbs. What does this create? This creates fights that has you on the edge of your seat wondering how Deku will figure this out. He can't destroy his legs, though a possibility. He still has to move around, but all of his fingers are broken. Both of his hands are limp. What's he gonna do? Is use his thumbs. Fucking genius. The early My Hero is chock full of these moments where Deku ingenuity gets to shine through. Even with the ability that is straight brute force, he gets to be tactical. But at what point does this drawback stop being a drawback? Full coiling. When full coiling was introduced, it served as a way he can use one for all and not break himself in the process. So far, you must be saying, but it made sense. He developed a way around one for all drawback. If his body can handle 15%, only use 15% until you can handle more. It made sense, right? 2 words. All might.
Hey, 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 yeah. 223, she a baddie.
What the fuck did he do? He's standing there saying, young Midoriya, you have to become big and strong to handle one for all's kickback. Look at yourself, my man. What are you talking about? You look like the aftermath of 117 licks of a Tootsie Pop. What do you mean? Why does Midoriya have to be so strong and All Might doesn't? People have been asking this question for years, and to my knowledge, it has not been and will never be answered. But nitpicks aside, when Versus choose to use this style of power system, it never fails to make power-ups, abilities, and fights interesting, because it turns from I have a bigger beam than you to I'm more skilled than you. And honestly, it's a shame we don't get to see more Versus using this dynamic. But even with the way most of the Versus do it, which doesn't have a drawback per se unless you're not a Uchiha, I want to look at the next stage of the Sharingan, which is the Mangekyo Sharingan. A person would unlock this by going through extreme amounts of emotional trauma, but the heartache of getting the shits is fucking worth it. You gain 2 abilities that can range from mind control to an inextinguishable fire. You also gain a fucking mech that's damn near indestructible. Great. On paper, this sounds too good to be true, right? And that's because it is. You go blind from using the shits. And that's not all. Every time you use it, it hurts like fuck. And it takes stupid amounts of chakra. That's the drawback. And it's nuts. You can never master it because you go blind once you get the hang of it. That was so interesting. An ability so overpowered, but you have to be cautious when using it because every time it's used, you're hindering yourself permanently. The story beats this could have created is unreal. I said this knowing Itachi went through this for years, but when it came around to Sasuke to use it, he was just spamming the fuck out of it. It sucked every bit of intrigue the ability had out of it, because if you're reading or watching up until this point, you knew this nigga was not gonna go blind, so there had to be another way, which came in the form of the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, which took everything that gave the regular Mangekyo Sharingan its intrigue, what separated it from the rest of the abilities, and just took it. Right now I'm sounding like a hater, but just look at what the eternal variant of the Mangekyo Sharingan does, right? It makes it really fucking good. You can't go blind anymore. You get a bigger mech. It doesn't hurt anymore, and it doesn't take that much chakra. Great. Lovely. No, it's just down there with Divergent's fist. Are you seeing what I'm trying to show you yet? The Mangekyo Sharingan is so interesting, but the Eternal just sucks everything that made it that way right out of it. It no longer feels like a high risk, high reward. It now just feels like a regular ability, which at first it never was. And since now we get to see the abilities of the Mangekyo Sharingan more and more and more and more and more, it takes away the attack potency, the same thing we talked about before. Since it showcased so much, since Sasuke is using it so much, there has to be someone that can take all of that punishment. That's why Sasuke comes off so weak in Boruto. I'm not saying that he is weak because the people in Boruto are strong as fuck. I'm saying that in order for him to use these abilities as much as they want to show it, there has to be someone to take the shits. Which sucks because originally the Eternal just came off as a way so Sasuke can see again after they let him showcase his new arsenal. At this point, I'm assuming you're getting what I'm trying to say. And we haven't even got to my favorite drawback yet. But before we get there, I want to get to one that I don't really hear a lot of people talking about. And that's the 10 shadows. The 10 shadows suck to have, bro. You get 10 different types of creatures, and if any of them die, that's it. They're gone. That's the downside. It's permadeath. If the dog dies, GG, it's gone. It doesn't matter how much energy you have. But that doesn't stop it from being an amazing ability. First off, you have to defeat the creature to tame it, which as far as these types of powers go is really cool. And each of them comes with their own ability. Dog, that shit is so hard, bro. Dead ass. This is one of my favorite abilities in Jujutsu for the main fact. Every time we see the shadows, Megumi is risking them. Okay, look at the time he was running from Toji and the rabbit escape herd got smaller and smaller because Toji kept killing them. That was a conscious decision Megumi made. This is a perfectly balanced ability. Equal risk to equal rewards, which creates interesting interactions with the other characters in the show. This is written well. There are no complaints about this ability. Equal risk for equal sacrifice. That's the key. The reason why One for All was so interesting was because after the big attack, he couldn't use his hand. The same with the Mangekyo Sharingan. You go blind, but you don't mind because the attack potency was so large, it seemed worth it. It feels like if you use it correctly, you'll never have to run into the consequences. This concept creates some of my favorite scenes and abilities in manga, starting with Gon Free. And if you've watched Hunter x Hunter, you know what I'm about to talk about. That's Gon's sacrifice. Quite literally making a deal with the imaginary energy to make him the age of which he need to beat the person he was fighting. This scene was built up through the entire manga, the entire anime. This moment is pinked up, finally boiling over into a masterclass of sequences laid in front of us to behold. We saw a glimpse of his inner anger. We saw the potential Gon possessed, but we never saw this coming. We never knew Gon would go this far for revenge. This is a drawback. This is what we were waiting for. This is fucking cinema. Making a deal with your name to make you this powerful in exchange for your name. To some people, this is an awful trade. It's not fair at all. I'm not people. Saying I'm okay with never using this again if I get this power right now is a equal trade. Look at Naruto and Baryon mode. He thought he was going to die. Regardless, when he lost Kurama, he didn't complain. Ichigo and Mugetsu didn't complain. All Might and One for All didn't complain. Sacrifice of one's power in an all-out attack or mode never missed. And there's a reason for that. The people it protected always outweighs the loss of that ability. These drawbacks can make a story and a world so amazingly interesting that it seems like a waste when creators choose to go for the big explosions over the intricate details a fight can have. But let me not make it seem like I don't go monkey brain over explosions. I love these fights. I'm just saying, having an ability with at least a basic drawback makes it all the more interesting. You can even blend the two and make it intriguing. It doesn't have to be a physical drawback. Look at Ichigo. He put that mask on and anyone in his way could get it, even the people he holds close to him. That's Fullmetal Alchemist's entire concept. You have to give something to receive. And look at where people hold that anime in regard. The last drawback I want to get into is from Berserk. And I know some people don't like Berserk because of the animation or because of something else. But for this next drawback, it doesn't really matter because we're getting into the manga. Timestamp for the final thoughts. No, the Berserker armor is the coolest piece of armor ever. It's basically indestructible, forged with an ominous aura that when it gets into the mind of the user, it molds said aura into them and encourages the need of strength in a way that's foreign to us. The armor makes you feel no pain and experiences zero fear, making you push your body to its absolute limits. That sounds great. An armor that's basically adrenaline. If that's all this cursed piece of protection had in store, that would be amazing. Nice. But no, the armor pierces itself into your body and mends bones like a puppeteer sticking needles into a puppet, or a captain putting tape over a leak to stop it, twisting itself to put your body back in place. So you can imagine when those external factors are taken away, the user is left in a critical state. The bones that was once mended all falls apart, the muscles torn and vertebrae ripped is now felt. The innate anger the armor pulls out of you is now gone, and now what is left is a barely alive corpse. I can't say enough to push how amazing this armor is portrayed in the manga. Look, go read Berserk, it's a masterclass. The amazing portrayal of sacrifice, not only in Berserk, but in many media alike, is needed. It doesn't need to be a body morphing armor or a mind corrupting demon. Simple drawbacks as small as the amounts of time you can use something indefinitely can increase not only the ability, not only the character that wields it, but the world they inhabit. Genuinely, I hope to see more creative portrayals of drawbacks in shows, and if not, make the animation better. That's always cool, I guess.